All right, here we go. My name is Jeff K., and you're listening to episode 516 of the world-famous West Virginia Surf Report podcast.
Jeff K. in the West Virginia Surf Report Show.
Did you ever watch this show called Sharp Objects on HBO? I think I've watched 6 episodes so far. There's only 8 episodes. About this woman who goes back to her hometown she's a newspaper, a newspaper reporter. She's going back to cover there's a couple of dead girls showed up. They found a couple of local girls that had been murdered. And she goes back to her hometown where there's, she has a history. And she doesn't have a great family situation. It's kind of weird. Did you ever watch that show? It is dark, man. I mean, I could usually watch, especially if it's something like a stupid cartoon show, which is like Reacher or something like that. You can watch 2 of them, back to back, 2 1-hour episodes, or sometimes if you're going crazy, you can watch 3 of them. But I can't watch it. Every time I watch one of those things, I'm like, I feel like I need a shower. Did you watch this show? It's called Sharp Objects. It's an HBO miniseries, I guess. I don't know, but anyway, it's good, but it's dark and it's weird, and I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I guess I enjoy it. Not really. I mean, I do. I mean, it's good, but it's not super fun. You know what I mean? What other shows fall into that category? I mean, it's like you're watching it and you're like, but I can't wait to watch it again tonight. 2 more episodes left. I would recommend it if you're into, if that's one of your genres, I'd recommend Sharp Objects. Okay, I got a rare Nancy update. Nancy, of course, if you're a surf reporter going back to back to the website days, she's my wife's sister. A little kooky, I would say, just a light dusting of kookery. And she has this opportunity. She was asking Tony about her opinion on this. Her husband, who's known as Nostradamus, nostrils or Nostradamus, he has, I don't know, he has people who are supposedly related to him all around the globe. I don't know, he's always pulling these bizarre, obscure relatives out of his ass. You know what I mean? So he has these relatives that live in Hawaii, and I guess they're elderly. They're up there in their 80s. And they said they made an offer to him. Said, if you want to come out here and stay with us, you just pay for your airline ticket. And everything's free, After that, except for spending money, of course, So it'd be an opportunity to go to Hawaii for 2 weeks. I don't know why it's 2 weeks, but 2 weeks. All right, and stay with them. You just have to pay for airline tickets and spending money, So that's a pretty good deal. And however, this is the part that I think would disqualify. I would not. I'll see what you think about this, but I would say no. I'll just stay here in northeastern Pennsylvania. Thank you very much. These people are like super, just perfect in each and every way. They're like environmentalists, and they're just citizens of the world, all this stuff. And I mean, to the extreme. In fact, they have a little bit of ground rules. Had a little ground rules for Nancy and Nostrils. They would have to, if they come, they have to. They'll inspect their bags. Right there, I'd say, no, you can stick that up your ass. You're not inspecting my bag. They inspect their bags upon arrival. There's nothing in everything has to be plant-based, including all their toiletries. And that's number one. That would be a disqualifier for me. Plant-based. And they're going to inspect the bags, and they don't want they don't have a car. They don't believe in cars. There's no air conditioning. They don't believe in air conditioning. So it's going to be hot. They're going to be stuck at that place. I don't know where they allow. How do they get from the airport? I guess they're going to take an Uber or something. Do they allow that? But there's all these all these restrictions, and they're going to be there for 2 weeks. There's no car available. And there's no air conditioning. These things are disqualifiers. The inspecting the bags thing, I'd say you're not. No way. And the whole way no AC. What the hell's that? Are you serious? In Hawaii, out in the middle of the ocean like that? I mean, that's insane. I mean, even they say, and they're kooky. Even they're like, I think that's a little over the top. If those two think it's a little over the top, mister, it's way over the top for me. How do you feel about that? If you had an opportunity for basically a free trip, not really free, but a inexpensive trip for 2 weeks in Hawaii, but there's all these like strings attached where they're going to inspect your bags, plant-based, what the hell? No way. Pack that up your ass. And the no AC, that's also a disqualifier. Be in there sweating, and you can't even, your toiletries don't work because they're made out of celery or whatever. I don't know what the hell. Screw that. Pack it. Take it up the ass, quarter turn on a slant. Thank you. How do you feel about that? That's insane. That's just performative, in my opinion. But whatever. It sounds right. It sounds like that would come from that side of the family. They're not family, but you know what I mean. The other day, last weekend, I went and got a haircut, and how I always complain about. I don't like when the person doing the haircutting has doesn't have a sure hand. You know what I mean? I encounter, because I just go to Great Clips or whatever. I think that's what it is, Great Clips. And there's 2 locations, and I go back and forth depending. Like they have an app. I go in there, it says 49-minute wait at this location. I check the other location, and it's a 12-minute wait. So I go to the 12-minute, whatever. Or where if I'm over in Dixon City, I'll go to that one. You know what I mean? There's 2 of them. So I go to that's where I get my hair cut. And it costs like $21 for a haircut. I think that's a lot. But they're pretty good. I like them, the people that work there are generally pretty good. And I often get, I often get the people that I've had before. I mean, there's the large woman who moves around the floor as if on casters. I get her a lot, and she's never stops talking, telling stories about her kids. Usually, her kids are just exasperating, and she's just rolling around as if on casters. Big old woman. She's nice. And then there's a core group at both locations that are there all the time. And then there's always like a revolving door of others. So I got this new one, and I don't like when I get somebody. I had this girl recently who was young, and she was very timid. She was just like stand far back and just like strike at my hair with like the clippers, just kind of like with one hand, just kind of like she's afraid of it, like I was going to explode or something, like my head was going to explode. I didn't like that. So you got to get in there, and just take charge, and just run those clippers. They're just like show them who's boss, So I don't like when they're timid. This girl that I had this last weekend, she took it a little bit too far because she was going to town and she kept she was digging the thing in, almost straight down. You know what I mean? It wasn't when you use clippers, you kind of you know what I mean? She was going straight down, almost you know what I mean? Up and down. So it was digging into my scalp skin. I was like, damn it, what the hell? You got to go a little horizontal on this shit, at least in that direction. You can't be going straight vertical on a haircut, So she kept getting it lodged, like it would dig into my skin, and I'm like, I'm gonna leave here. I'm gonna be bleeding. And she was like, I don't know. She was like real. She didn't really didn't seem like she had a system down. And her armpit, a couple times her armpit was basically pressed up against my face. I'm like, what the? There wasn't an issue. I didn't, but it's not good. Somebody's armpit mashed against my face, and at some point she was doing the front, she had scissors, and she was real precise with that, and she was doing something with the front of my hair, and her face was inches from my face, and you could feel her breath coming through her nose holes. I could feel her breath on my face coming out of her nose holes. I was like, it's a little intimate. I got an armpit in my face. I got their face is right up against mine, and I don't know. She did a good job, but it was ridiculous. I don't know. She needs to get a better method. I get a lot of haircuts every 5 weeks. I think it's almost exactly 5 weeks I go and get another one. And Tony always says, that's insane. You go way too often. I know people that go every 2 weeks. Males. I'm not talking about women. I'm talking about guys. Guys I work with go every 2 weeks. I go 5. I go 5 weeks, and it starts to get all bushy and stuff. And it grows up. It doesn't grow down. When my hair gets long, it doesn't grow down. It grows out and up. You know what I mean? That's why I call myself, I describe it as Jiffy Pop hair. You put some Jiffy Pop on the stove, and it rises. That's exactly like my hair. You know what I mean? So anyway, that was something else. She was very assertive. I thought she was going to cut me. I thought for sure I was going to be leaving there with a bandage or something. I was like, damn it, She didn't say a word to me, which is fine, I guess, but it seemed weird. I don't know. So I know I probably give off vibes like, don't talk to me. I don't know. I try not to. I'm very aware of that. I try to be friendly. I think I do put off those don't mess with me vibes. I don't know why. I know it's something. My kids are like that too, and I don't. It's not good. It's not helpful. But anyway, she did a good job. But it's I don't know. You got breath on your face, straight out of their nose holes. You got an armpit more than once pressed up against my face, and she's going vertical with the clippers, almost cutting a hole in my scalp, in my skull. Anyway, I don't know what to say. She needs to get a better method going. I was talking to my brother the other day. He kept going, oh, whew. I said, what the hell is going on with you? And he goes, I just took a shit earlier, and I'm just still recovering. I said, recovering? What the hell you mean? He goes, I don't know, there's a recovery period where you have to. I said, what the hell you talk about? He goes, you don't have that where you have to recover? I said, no. What the hell? No, I don't. I'm like, what the heck? He goes, well, I don't know. I feel afterwards. I feel terrible for a while. It takes me a while to get back up to speed. I said, I don't know what the hell you talk about. But he's all the time. The other day I was looking at my. Tony's talking about leaving Verizon, right? And I was like, the only thing I don't want to lose my pictures, you know. So I went in the Verizon cloud, have 20,000 pictures in there from 5 different phones, going back 5, the most recent 5 phones that I've had, 20,000 or so pictures in there. So I was flipping through there. It also has like screen caps, you know, stuff that you saved. And there was a conversation. And it said, it was my brother. He was like, I just took a shit in the Salvation Army thrift store. I said, what, like a used cookie jar or something? You know, like, what the heck? He like shits all around town. I don't know what the hell. He just he's like, I was shitting in Kohl's the other day, and like, what the, you know, that goes counter to the way I. But anyway, so he was telling me there's a recovery. I was like, what the heck? I was thinking about that later. I was like, when I call over there one day, and his wife answers or his son answers. I said, is Tim there? No, he's still in recovery, you know. The procedure went well, reportedly. The procedure went well. There were he had a few setbacks, you know, but ultimately it was successful. He's currently recovering, drinking some Gatorade, trying to get his electrolytes back up. I had this whole scenario in my head. It's like recovery. He goes, you don't have a recovery time? A recovery? What is it, like, deplete you? Like, yeah, I'm weak. I don't feel good. He was like going, oh, God. I'm like, what the hell? What is wrong with you? What do you... I shit recently, and I'm still in recovery. Still in recovery. Never a dull moment. Let's see what else I've written down here. Oh, what do you think about tribute bands? Like bands, you know, like, yeah, I know what I mean. These bands that tour. I mean, there's a theater. Hang on a second. Let me put this on hold. Okay, there's a place I've been to a couple times that books all these like tribute bands. And there's also places around here, other places closer. There's a casino in Wilkes-Barre that has like something called Party on the Patio that everybody talks about. I guess it's this big deal, you know. People like take vacation days to go to picnic on the patio or whatever it's called, something along those lines. And they always have like some kind of like party on the patio. That's what it's called, Party on the Patio. And it's like they have tribute bands. And this place called Penn's Peak up in the Poconos, I think, or no, Jim Thorpe. It's in Jim Thorpe. They have all these tribute bands. In fact, I just pulled up the website. So they have this is who they have booked. They have Hey 19, a tribute to Steely Dan, The Machine, a tribute to Pink Floyd, Separate Ways, a Journey band. Let's see. I don't know what that is. Let's see. A Rush tribute, Lotus Land. What the hell's that? Our House, the music of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Tusk, Fleetwood Mac tribute. Eagle Mania, tribute to the Eagles. I don't know. Get the Lead Out, which is Led Zeppelin. So anyway, what do you think about Damn the Torpedoes, a Tom Petty tribute? They have tons of them. The Man in Black, a tribute to Johnny Cash. Hollywood Nights, Bob Seger Experience. God. So it's an endless list of these tribute bands. What's your feelings about that? Would you ever go see them? Have you ever gone to see one of them? Whenever I say something about it, like at work or something, people are like, "Oh, those guys are good. A lot of those guys are really good musicians." Okay, well, I don't know. I guess whatever. Like why? But you know what the part? I was thinking about it. You know the part that bugs me about it, and I don't think I could get past it, is the fact that they wear like costumes, like they dress like the artists, like that Tom Petty tribute band. I don't know anything about it. What was it called? Damn the Torpedoes or something? Refugee or some shit? I don't know. There's a bunch of them. There's a guy. He's like, I don't know, probably from Chick-Shinny, Pennsylvania. Dressing like Tom Petty. The guy's he's just a local kielbasa eater. I don't know. And it's like stupid. I probably wouldn't go anyway. But I would be willing, I guess, if I were somewhere and there was some band that played nothing but Tom Petty music. Because I'm a big Tom Petty fan. I love Tom Petty. And but if they were, if they had a good reputation, like they say, a lot of these people, these are great musicians. Yeah, but why do they dress up in costumes and shit and try to impersonate? That's stupid. If they just wore regular clothes and played the songs, I'd be willing. It's the clothes. I think it's the shtick that goes along. Like some of those Beatles. There's a bunch of those Beatles tribute bands, and they talk like they're from Liverpool. They try to use some kind of stupid-ass Liverpool, talk, They have a Liverpool accent, I guess. They use all the phrases, Hey, that's just stupid. That shit is I mean, that turns it into some kind of nonsense in my view. But if they were just normal guys and gals, I'd be all right, I guess, maybe. I mean, I did go see, the closest I think I've ever come to that is I did go see the New York Dolls. Do you remember? I don't know if you're in... The New York Dolls were around in the 70s. But I don't know, I think it was the early 2000s. They got back together. I mean, there's only two of them. Two of them were alive at that point. None of them are alive now. But it was David Johansen, the lead singer, the guy that wrote, basically wrote a lot of this, did a lot of the writing. And he was the lead singer. And Sylvain. So those were two original members from the band, from back in the 70s. And the rest of them are just guys. I don't know but they did put out 3 albums. They got back together in some configuration, and they put out 3 albums, which, they're actually pretty good. They're not terrible, They're actually, they're decent. And so that band, I saw them in Philly. The only thing I didn't like about that is they had a Johnny Thunders. He used to wear this, I don't know, he dressed in a specific way. He had a look. They had a fake Johnny Thunders in that band. He was wearing the costume. That kind of cheapened it. I was justifying it in my head. Well, I mean, David Johansen wrote these songs and he sang these songs. We're going to be seeing David Johansen sing these songs. So that's good. I mean, I won't even think of it as being the New York Dolls. I just think of it as David Johansen performing the songs that he wrote when he was in the New York Dolls. That's cool. That's good. It was fun, actually. But they had a fake Johnny Thunders in there wearing a costume. What's your feelings about that? That's not something I don't think I'd ever go to Penn's Peak. I mean, I know I wouldn't. There's 0% chance, 0.00, and that's pretty low % chance that I'd go see them, like some kind of Tusk, a Fleetwood Mac tribute. Seriously? No way. What's your feelings? I know these guys are great musicians. I mean, these are accomplished. Okay, I don't know, whatever. Okay, but why do they have to dress up like a stupid ass, like a fat Tom Petty? or like a portly Sergeant Pepper, like blowing the buttons off that Sergeant Pepper, some fat ass from the Philly suburbs. I don't know. But anyway, if you have any thoughts on that, let me know. Tribute bands. That is not really not really in my wheelhouse. The 20,000 photos from the Verizon thing. I was just going through that thing, just randomly, just like clicking on stuff. It's fantastic. There's some good stuff in there. There's some classic photos that I've taken throughout the years. I gotta move that stuff over to Dropbox somehow. I gotta figure out how to do that. I gotta move 20,000 photographs from the Verizon cloud over into Dropbox, and then we can move to whatever T-Mobile. The kids don't know this yet, but they're on their own. We're paying way too much money for cell phones. We're paying off for all four of us. So that's they're going to be told very, very soon. They're going to have to get their own cell phone plans. Enough's enough. They're pushing 30. One of them is 30. The other one's 28 or something. It's time to get on your own cell phone. We're not paying it anymore. Got a high overhead. And I could get fired any day. We gotta get this shit straightened out. Anyway, that's everything I had written down. I do have some phone calls that came in over the hotline since I've been away. It's been a while. Things aren't. I don't want to get into it. Not great. But anyway, this first call is from our old pal Tony in Cleveland. Here it is.
You let your boy go to the pit? There's only two outcomes from that. Either he's dead now, or he's dating someone from the pit. That seems to be the options. Or absence. Anyway, watch out for those maggots.
Yeah, that's true. We allowed our boy, the younger boy, to go to the pit. I don't know if you remember this, but when we went out there to see him, went out there to visit him, he got some kind of illness, which he blamed on me. He blamed me, I think, for taking him to this Mexican restaurant that he didn't approve. And next morning he was sick. He was real sick. I guess everybody at work was sick, so it had nothing to do with we went to that restaurant, and none of us got sick except him. He was sure it was that, But anyway, he ended up going to. He lives in Pittsburgh. He went to an ER in Pittsburgh, which is exactly what the pit is, an ER in Pittsburgh. So I made a joke about that. So yeah, that's true. He's either dead or he's dating somebody that works in the pit. Yeah, that's good. That's beware of the maggots. That is disgusting. That show is gross, and I can't look away. It's a fantastic. I can't wait for the new season. That thing's great. If you haven't watched it, I highly, highly recommend The Pit. He's not dating anybody, as far as I know. He's a very secretive young man. Who knows what's going on? He might be dating somebody from there. For all I know. He's definitely not dead. He went down to visit my parents this weekend, as a matter of fact. That's pretty cool. Anyway, thanks, Tony. I appreciate it. I'll keep you updated on that if there's any further developments. This next call is from Andrew. Here we go.
Jeff, surf reporter Andrew here. Just wanted to call on two quick things. First of all, I just listened to your recent episode that was mostly about urinals and bathrooms. And it was fantastic. Definitely one of your funniest episodes ever, and really appreciated it, and just wanted to let you know that you did a fantastic job with that. The other reason I've been meaning to call for a while is I often think about some of your episodes where you talk about TV shows in the 70s and what an absolute wasteland it was, because I agree with you so much on that. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and I've tried to go back and watch some of those shows now for nostalgia. And so many of them are absolutely unwatchable. Welcome Back, Kotter is a good example, and I know that you talked about that one. Unwatchable. But I did find a bright spot. I bought the box set of Barney Miller on a whim and thoroughly enjoyed it. Watched all of the seasons and just thought it was great and it held up very well. So I'd be interested in your thoughts on Barney Miller if you have any, and also to hear of any other bright spots you think may have existed in TV in the 70s, since you've already talked about all of the terrible TV shows that we had to endure. That was it, Jeff. Thank you very much for the great work, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the urinals. Yeah, that one seemed to go over pretty well. I had fun doing that. That's right. That is in my wheelhouse. Those tribute bands, not. That's not in my wheelhouse. Public restrooms and urinals, definitely. That's the kind of stuff I like. 70s TV, garbage, trash, filth, dirt. You mentioned the worst one, Cotter. I used to watch that show when I was a kid. I thought the thing was hilarious. That thing is straight garbage. You know, it's not fun. There's nothing funny about it. You know, and a lot of the shows weren't. Did you ever try to watch an episode of Alice? That thing was on for like 10 years. You ever try to watch that shit? That thing's terrible. Kiss my grits. Everybody, the whole country be convulsing with laughter, just doubled over, thinking that is the funniest shit you ever heard. Why don't you kiss my grits? The thing sucked. And Alice, she sucked, and that kid, her kid, needed to be punched right in the face. The whole thing's just terrible. The only person I liked on there was Mel Sharples, the great Vic Tayback. You know what I'm saying? But the 70s TV was horrific. You said Barney Miller. I haven't watched that in a long time. People mention that too. I guess I think that thing has. You might be right. You know, I don't know. I haven't personally watched it lately, but I hear people talking about it. It seems to be. It hasn't been rejected. Everybody seems to like it. I need to watch it. Maybe I should watch it. But I can't really comment on it. But I do hear people talking about Barney Miller all of a sudden. So that might, he said it holds up. My thoughts, the only thing, as far as comedies go, I don't know. I can't really think of anything. I mean, MASH was on. That was good for a while. I enjoyed that. And I think Cheers was the 80s. But, what is that thing? What's that thing with Michael J. Fox? That's 80s too. I can't really think of anything in the 70s that was comedy-wise. Well, some of the those detective shows I like. I love Columbo, and I like Kojak and all those shows. Mannix, fantastic. Some of those shows were good. Mannix was like one of the most violent TV shows. You ever watch that thing? You watch that thing? It's like violent. Cannon. They always had a hook. Like the fat detective, the cowboy detective, McCloud, the detective in the wheelchair, Ironside. I don't know. They always had like the old detective, Barnaby Jones. I mean, those shows kind of are better, but the comedy shows. I mean, I used to watch Happy Days. Some of those earlier shows, like in the early days of Happy Days, they're all right. There's Laverne and Shirley. No, I don't know. That thing sucks. And you know what's Mork and Mindy? People are like, I loved Mork and Mindy. That's just nostalgia. That shit. That Robin Williams, he sucks. I don't know. I mean, I know he's dead. I'm sorry. But he's like out there waving his arms around, marching around, like, doing voices. That's not funny. How's that funny? Just saying stuff in a wacky voice. That show is horrible. That thing was terrible on day one. It was terrible on the last day. Happy Days, I don't know, what else? WKRP in Cincinnati? That was all right. I don't know. For the most part, the 70s were a wasteland. Right now, we're living through the golden age of television. We're in the midst of the golden age of television. There is an enormous amount of good stuff on TV, like massive amounts. You know, every streaming service has several shows that are fantastic. It's hard to even keep track of. It's hard to even like stay up with them. There's so many. It's fantastic. But the '70s terrible, and we all watched this. All watched this crap. And you know what else was great in the '70s? That's right, Johnny Carson. But you know what I'm saying. For the most part, it was with a few little exceptions here and there. The '70s was a wasteland. So thanks for the call, Andrew. I do appreciate it. This next call is from Jeff in Alabama. Here it is.
Hey, Jeff. This is Jeff from Alabama. I think I was responsible for the mystery phone call a few weeks ago where it was just random sounds, rhythmic sounds. I had gone on a cruise out of New Orleans, and the night before we went to Tropical Isle, and they were playing Country Road, and I thought, I'll play this. I'll get Jeff to, put this on his show, whatever. And apparently something went wrong. It was not meant to be. So I think I'm responsible for that. But like I said, I went on a cruise out of New Orleans, went to places in Mexico and other places. But I'll let you know that I wore my West Virginia Surf Report T-shirt that I bought many years ago. And I'm going to send you a picture of it. I think I'm holding a mimosa for some reason. I guess it was my wife. But yeah, enjoyed the cruise. Got some sort of stomach thing one day, but I think it was from the quantity of food rather than the, any sort of quality of it. But it was fun. You should go on a cruise. You should go on make a group cruise, make a West Virginia Surf Report group cruise with a lot of folks. So, yeah, that's what I got to say. Enjoying the show. Sort of enjoyed your trip to Pittsburgh. I know what you mean about your son, should thank you for dinner rather than complain about it. So that's it. Have a good day.
So you're the one that left that call where it's just like, that one. You're on a cruise? I've never been on a cruise. I have never been on a cruise in my life. I would do it. Tony's against it. Tony's like, nah, I don't ever do that. I don't want to be trapped on some boat. I said, I don't know. So I like the idea of non-stop buffets. Just round the clock gluttony. I like that. I like that idea. I don't know. I like to do things. I like to do in moderation, without getting carried away. I don't want to jump out of an airplane or anything, but I like having experiences, So I would do it for the experience, so that I could know what a cruise is all about. I mean, I know in general, but I'd like to experience it just to see. I'd go to Hawaii too, but I would. You start going through my toiletries, mister. Game over. But you know what I mean? I haven't been to Hawaii. I haven't been to Alaska. And I've never been on a cruise. So I would do it, but Tony's against it. And so it probably won't ever happen. So, but I'm glad you had a good time. I'll look for your picture. Did you send it to that Surf Report pod? I don't look at that very often. I should. There's probably dozens of messages in there and I haven't even opened them. Yeah. I'm terrible. But anyway, I'll look for that picture. You said wearing a Surf Report shirt on the cruise. That's awesome. So thank you, Jeff. God, this next one's from Patrick. Patrick called me a couple times. He didn't like the first one, so he re-recorded it. So this is the re-recording of the call from Patrick. Here it is.
Hey, Jeff, Patrick here. Hey, man, I had to think about another pisser story I might want to share on the show here. Me and my dad and my younger brother, we used to go to the Memphis Redbirds game, which was the AAA farm team for the Cardinals. And they had one of those trough, 12-foot-long trough situations in the men's restroom. So we used to play a fun game where we would throw 4 quarters, 4 dimes, 4 nickels, and 4 pennies in the trough when no one was looking. We'd do it at maybe the fourth inning, and you'd come back, maybe the next inning, maybe the sixth inning, and the quarters would be gone. And then by the end of the ninth, everything would be gone. They would always leave the pennies. But I swear, man, everybody would always take the change out of the trough. It's a fun game. It's a really fun game. You should try to play it next time you go to maybe you and Steve go to whatever stadium you go to next. But you can't let anybody see you throw that in there. You got to people. You got to be like a treasure. Somebody comes up and goes, "Hey man, look, check this shit out. Look, $1.50," and you watch it. You can even bet on it. We used to bet on it. Hey man, I bet all the quarters will be gone. No, it won't be gone. And we bet $1 between us. Hey man, how much would be gone? It was fun. It was a fun game. Anyway, that was a fun memory. So thanks for Anyway, hey, let me take a hit off this bitch here. Yeah, fun games to play at the baseball stadium. So anyway, keep it up, Jeff. See you later.
That is awesome. That is a great. Can you imagine putting your hand just in a communal piss basket to get 4 quarters? No way. I mean, I know it's probably a long time ago when quarters. I mean, a quarter used to go a long way when I was a kid. When I was a kid, if I had a quarter, mister, I was riding high. You could go to Charlotte's grocery store, a little corner store, and buy all kinds of candy for a quarter. But I don't even think, even back then, I don't think I'd put my hand into a just a pool of urine. I wouldn't plunge my hand into urine like a frothy. Ugh, no way. That is crazy. You said at the end, the only things that'd be left were the pennies. People are probably like, this isn't a wishing well. There are people throwing money in here. This isn't a wishing well. But maybe I could try that. I don't know if a quarter will do it anymore. I don't know if people, because at some point you get to the point where, like me right now, I'm fat. I'm a fat ass. I don't even think, if I dropped a quarter, I don't think I'd even bother to bend over. I don't know. At some point, you get fatter and fatter. It's I don't know. It's only a dime. Hell with it. I'll just let it go. It's the cost of doing business. Then you're dime fat. I think I'm quarter fat. I don't know. I don't even know if I'd probably bend over to pick up a dollar. If I dropped a dollar bill, I'd probably pick it up. But I don't know if I'd pick up a quarter. I think at this point, I believe I've reached quarter fat, where I'll let that go. That's enough. I mean, that's the highest amount that I just let go. I just use it as a loss. Just chalk it up as a loss. But I like your little social experiment. That's awesome. People are grotesque. The other day on Thursday, I turned on. There was no baseball. The Reds weren't playing. So on MLB TV, they have all the minor league games. So I was watching. I turned it on to watch the Louisville Bats, which is the Reds' AAA team, and they were playing the Memphis Redbirds. Wonder if somebody's in there. I wonder if there's any quarters in the trough at night. I don't know. Anyway, there wasn't any. Looked like the stadium was empty. Looked like there's 50 people there. But anyway, I appreciate it, and I like your. I take a hit off this bitch. I appreciate that. That's hilarious. Let me take a hit off this. I got some Fresca again. I bought another 12-pack of Fresca. They're still $3.99. I don't know. It's ridiculous. $5 less than normal. I like Fresca. That shit's good, man. That is a solid soda. Anyway, that's we're at the end of this thing. Thank you guys for calling in. I do appreciate it. It's Tony, Andrew, Jeff, Patrick. I appreciate you calling in. And if you guys want to call in, the rest of you, please do. The number 570-290-8151. Call around the clock, leave a message. And just like Patrick, if you don't like the first one, just leave another message. Say, don't use that first one. I'm going to call back and give it another shot. And I'll, I'm easy. I'm not here to embarrass anybody. In fact, I thought the first one was fine, but whatever. He didn't want me to use it, so anyway, if you want to do that as well, 570-290-8151. And if you want 2 episodes a week, or every time I publish one to the main network, a few days later I publish a bonus episode for patrons only. If you want to tap into that rich vein of nonsense, you can do that by heading over to Patreon. That's Patreon, patreon.com/Jeff K. Sign up for a $4 or more monthly donation, and you'll get a bonus episode every time I publish one to the main network. A few days later, you get one just for patrons only. And you get access to the old ones. They're not old. Previously recorded, previously used, previously enjoyed. That's what it is. The previously enjoyed episodes. There's shitloads of them, 250 plus bonus episodes that you have instant access to. That is so much Surf Report for $4. Are you serious? You don't be losing money by not doing it. Surf Report, what is it called? Oh, it's patreon.com/Jeff K, and surfreportpod.com is the web home of the podcast. Check that out as well. There's that last episode where me and the older boy went to New York for a Reds-Mets game. There's a lot of there's some photographs in there, and support materials, so check that out as well. And we're at the end of this thing. Thank you guys for listening, and I do appreciate it. And until next time, which will be over on the Patreon side, hope you guys have yourselves a fine day. I'll see you. Bye.
Watch out for those maggots.